Well, you might have noticed there's two of us on the sofa today, first time in 3 weeks.
And you were just yawning. Try having
You're
jet lag.
very boring. Very boring.
I was up at 1:30 this morning, ready to go.
He's just got back from Vegas because he's just turned 30. So we thought he'd go and see if he can forget a week. How was it?
Cold?
Yeah, this tan was not from this holiday. It was from
No,
his
it was.
previous
No.
holiday.
One day we had where we were sat on a daybed all day, trying to avoid the wind. And that day was quite warm.
And if you've been to Vegas, you might have heard of the Heart Attack Grill, which is where he went. Tell us about that.
Well, I chose the triple burger. We get
With 40 rashers of
No,
bacon
it was
on the side.
15.
Oh,
I looked at
lightweight.
15 rashers of bacon we had. After one bite, I was about done, but finished it, and then we soon went to bed after that with stomach ache.
When he says we, it means his three best friends and him.
Yeah. What night was it? I think it was Friday night in Las Vegas. We were in bed about 9.
This is what happens when you're 30.
Yeah.
Imagine what happens when you're 53.
We all said, we need to be up early in the morning, so made up for it.
Anyway, I'm very glad to have him back. We've missed you.
Yeah, thank you.
And
Back alive and back
alive,
still
yeah.
with a little bit of money.
so we often do our Ask AJ. Yeah, that is a miracle.
Which bit?
The fact you've got any money left.
I can't believe.
We often do our Ask AJ based on something we've been asked recently or something that's come up in a conversation with a seller or a buyer. And just a day or so ago, in fact yesterday I think, a lovely local guy who we know well came into the office to talk to us about, or come to us with a question actually, which was, should we extend or should we move? And it's actually quite a common question, especially obviously if you're local, less so if you're not local and you've got a holiday home here, but quite often you've found yourself bursting at the seams with your family getting bigger and bigger, and you just feel like your life has moved on but your house hasn't. So he had the choice of potentially spending about 300,000 on a very significant investment which will improve the footprint of his house by about 40% or 30%, or spending that 300,000 and going off and buying something just over $1 million. So that's his kind of choice. Now, without knowing anything else at all, what we usually advise is it's usually better to move than improve. Usually, not always, but we'll give you some caveats. So the first thing that I wanted to say about that was the house he's living in now, and this is very important, has a ceiling, a price ceiling, because it's on a road with lots of other houses that are very similar. I mean, over time, obviously, houses tend to look a little bit different from each other, but the original design is the same. And therefore, you've got precedent either side, which keeps the prices at a certain level. And you don't want to be the best house on the road, especially when you spent that much money. So from that point of view, he's much better off taking his money and putting it into a unique home, where his 300,000, if he wanted to do that, would then be worth exponentially more because it's a unique home with no ceiling. That's the first thing I want to say.
Yeah, and to counter that, slightly, if you're planning to stay 10, 15 years and you're there because the location's perfect and the views are amazing, then actually the 10, 15 years will negate the difference, and that you'll come out the other side.
With probably equity again.
Yeah, but what we said is he was thinking that it would sell in 3 to 5 years, and therefore the amount he was spending compared to the size he was adding to the property wouldn't have negated the price difference.
So we do work on a price per square foot. So if you wanted to try and work it out in a logical way, which is hard to do, let's say you were adding 1,000 square feet, which for most people, if you've got a standard sort of 4-bed detached house, that's usually the size of your downstairs, let's say, or maybe, about that. So let's say you're adding 1,000 square feet. In this area, depending on exactly where you are, whether you've got lakefront or lake views, etc., you're talking about, let's say, £400 a square foot. So you'd need to add on about, what does that work out at? £400,000. So if he wants to spend £300,000 and add on only that amount of money, or that amount of usable space, then what he runs the risk of is not adding on enough space to be able to negate the money he's just spent on it, particularly if there's a ceiling for the house. Because what happens is once you've reached that ceiling, is then doesn't matter what else you do to that house, you can't get that money back. So if you can add 1,000 square feet and he can spend less than £400,000, on paper it would look like he's quids in. But what might actually happen in practice is he might not be.
Yeah, and the only time where this doesn't really stand true is when you've got a unique plot, let's say in the Langdales, with an incredible view, and you're going to knock down, or you're going to double the size of your property from 1,000 square foot to 2,000 square foot, and the improvement is something that's super luxurious and high spec. And at that point, the price per square foot, you can go to 700-800, even more than that. So at that point, you can start to really generate a very high valuation, and you can create a difference. But it really does matter on the plot, the views, the area, and how unique it is, if you can say that.
So if you can create a completely different house, and we've seen this with Beach Rock, for example. So Beach Rock that we're selling, which is the top of Helm Road in Bowness, which is an amazing house. What was there was a little tiny bungalow. Now, the guy that bought it didn't just keep extending the bungalow, because I think it wouldn't have worked. What he did was he took it down and rebuilt it. And what's actually there is a £2.25 million house now, which is phenomenal. If you'd started off with the bungalow and tried to add to that you couldn't get anywhere near 2.25 million. So if you're buying it for the plot, that is a different proposition. Although we know some people have been caught out still and still overspent on a plot. So you've got to be a little bit careful. And also, if you do take it down completely, then National Park are going to be coming after you for a local occupancy clause on that house. So there are some, pluses and minuses with doing that. The other thing that we did talk about was the fact that we've been quoted nearly a year to put a bathroom in a house, and therefore trying to get trades in at the moment, and even supplies and materials for your house like tiles and baths and kitchens could take a lot longer than you think. So in a year's time, you don't know what the market's going to be like. Right now, we know it's a really buoyant market. So selling now at the top of the market, even though you are going to be buying obviously at the top of the market, means that with a lot more houses coming to market, you can choose a unique plot, unique house, and really make it your own. And that is a much better proposition on the whole than extending where you already are.
Yeah, and also if you are going down the extension route, make sure that the spec of the rest of the house matches the extension. What the houses we struggle to sell the most is when you've got an extension which is ultra luxury and high spec, and the rest of the house is not. And it's kind of in between, where people come in and they might love one section but really just like the others, and they've got to do work. So you're not getting the people that want to do work, and you're not getting the people that want a finished house. It goes in the middle.
We are hopefully selling a house though soon that has done that, but they've done it really, really well, where the old house is the Pattinson house and the new extension is so vast that actually it melds really well with the old
bit. So old and new work, but not high spec, no spec.
No, definitely not. No, so don't forget things like spare bedrooms and that kind of thing, because that's really where you start to see the cracks showing, and you realise that not the whole house has been done. But it boils down to what your unique house is, what your house is uniquely as well, because it might not be a unique house, and what your unique set of circumstances are as well. So the best thing that we can offer is our advice, where we come and have a look at it and tell you what we actually think, and whether, if we were in your shoes, literally what we would do. And I think that it just helps put things into perspective for you. So that is the first thing that we'd say, really. If you or somebody is thinking about extending their house instead of moving, then call us in, make us a cup of tea, and we'll share our advice freely, in both ways, free and freely.
We will. I've got a question for you.
Is it a joke?
No.
It looks like a joke.
It's not. It's nothing to do with estate agency. It's just what I found it out on my treadmill last night. So, if you spend 1 second under Niagara Falls, how many years worth of water do you think lands on you for a family of 4?
How many years? What you mean, usage in your house?
Yes, household usage.
So showers.
Just household usage for water. That's all it said. It didn't go into.
Shower.
One of them has baths. One of them has showers.
Because if it's your family, then it's probably not very much because your family use a lot of water.
Oh, the other way. Right.
No, they're always running a tap or 3. So how many years?
So, Paddy
usage?
starts running his tap now for a drink on Christmas Day.
I do tell him it's metered. I go around turning it off, and he comes back and goes, "I was running that, but this will be like 5 minutes
Make
later." Yeah. So how many years worth in 1 second?
Yes.
Is what we're saying. Really, a year? All right, 1 year then.
No.
In 1 second.
7.5 years worth of water lands on you in 1 second.
In 1 second.
In 1 second, there's enough to run. There's enough power
1,000.
to run New York City for a day that lands in 1 second.
Well, have you got a hydroelectric plant there?
I would hope so. I don't
I don't think they have though.
I honestly don't know.
Have been. Okay, question for you guys then: is there a hydroelectric plant and Niagara Falls either side
There
of it?
must be.
They use oil from Russia, don't they?
Let's not go into that. And on that note, we'll say
But if
goodbye.
Biden, you are listening, we've just solved it.
Bye bye.